I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We worked for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch a fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Welcome back, Jim White, Brother Dave White, and Super Dave Weldon.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
And a big welcome back to Super Dave. He's been out the last couple days because he got a new puppy.
I did.
Named Deets.
Deets. Like Danny Deets, this Navy SEAL, but it's really more for Josh Deets from Lonesome Dove.
Huh. And you picked that dog up Saturday night?
After work Saturday, yes.
Okay.
Picked him up Saturday afternoon. I've already visited him 3 other times, so I kind of was acquainted with him already and brought him home, and he didn't miss a beat.
Was he crying all night Saturday night?
Nope, not at all.
Really?
Slept the whole night. Just seemed to be as comfortable as you can imagine.
In a crate?
No.
Oh, that's why. In the bed.
No, he sleeps in the kitchen.
With the other dog?
With his bed, no. The other dog I got to keep separate because she will bite him.
Oh, nice.
Seems like a great relationship.
Hopefully it'll improve, but she's not too hip on those puppy teeth.
The black dog? Or
yeah.
Leia?
Leia. Like
okay.
Princess Leia from Star Wars. Yes.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Congrats.
But Deets sleeps in the kitchen, and so far so good. You know, he's got access to that doggy door. The first couple nights I wasn't sure about letting him out at night. Worried that he didn't know the backyard, but he knows the backyard pretty well now.
That's the backyard.
Well, it's different from his backyard for sure.
As long as he knows where that doggy door is at, so he can get back in, that's good.
That's right.
All right. Let's go ahead and knock it out with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and in making a good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comfort of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
As a reminder, anything you hear on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFW's. It's just the men in this room's expressed opinion. Episode 179, 322 downloads. Like that, we're climbing. 93.8 thousand total downloads, and we are up to 744 followers.
Nice.
I'm going to jump in right to the dad joke without trying to trick you guys. But do you know why did the math book look so mad?
Because his number was up.
That's a good guess, Dave. That really is a good guess.
Wasn't the right one, but it was a good one. It's because it had too many problems.
There you go.
That's funny.
What do you got, Soup? We'll just go around the room.
Sounds good. Well, I've got some rain jokes here since it's been raining the last 2 days. Why does a mama kangaroo hate the rain?
Fills a pouch up.
Only because I looked up rain jokes, Dave. I saw this, but I'm not going to take your thunder. Go for it.
Well, because on those days, the kids have to play inside. And I just thought, oh, man,
that's a full pouch.
How uncomfortable.
Right?
So what goes up in the sky when the rain comes down? This should be easy.
Grass.
Good guess. An umbrella. So there you go. Jim, what do you got?
Oh, why did the blind man fall into the well?
Because he couldn't see it.
Because he's blind.
He couldn't see the well. that well.
Couldn't see that well.
What do you call a fat psychic?
A fat psychic. This ought to be good.
Give me a hint.
A fortune teller?
Oh, yeah. Fortune teller.
I think we've done that one.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I
good
think
one,
so.
Yeah. So, what's the leading cause of dry skin?
Towels.
Good job. Good job. And it says, I saw an ad in the shop window that said, television for sale, $1, volume stuck on full.
Television for sale, $1. Volume stuck on full.
I
No
thought
idea.
I can't turn that down.
That's funny.
Good one.
That's it.
That's it?
Dave,
All right,
what do
baby.
you got?
I have two totally unrelated jokes, and this first one just struck me funny. I kind of cracked me up. Everybody here knows William Shatner. I'm sure he's been around for so long, but did you guys happen to know he once started his own lingerie company for women?
No.
Unfortunately, the name Shatner Panties turned out to be a terrible choice for a And then this one, I just found it cute. But during a visit to the mental asylum, a friend of mine that was writing an article on it asked the director, how do you determine whether or not a patient should be institutionalized? And the director says, well, we fill up a bathtub, then we offer a teaspoon, a teacup, and a bucket to the patient to ask him or her to empty the bathtub. And the friend writing the article says, oh, I understand. So a normal person would use a bucket because it's bigger than the spoon or the teacup. And the director says, no, a normal person would pull the bathtub drain plug. Do you want a bed near the window or the wall?
That's funny. Good stuff.
Shatner panties.
New employees, let's welcome Adam Salou and Gandhi Cardoso. Welcome to the fleet, man.
Yeah, welcome you guys.
Welcome, guys.
Celebrations, anniversaries. We had some pretty cool anniversaries yesterday. Teddy Haney in the shop, Gustavo Inda in the wash bay, and Elvin Spates hit their 1-year anniversaries yesterday.
Yeah, congratulations,
Yeah,
you guys.
congratulations,
Congratulations.
guys.
1 year. That's awesome.
Yep. We got a really big anniversary coming up on Friday the 9th. JR Laganosa Science hits 9 years this Friday.
Nice.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah, congratulations,
JR.
JR.
Yep. Birthdays. Neil Yarborough had a birthday today, or has one. Happy birthday, Neil. Adam Salou makes it to the outline again. He has a birthday tomorrow. And then Tracy, the Holiday Holloway, has a birthday this Saturday the 10th.
Happy birthday, guys.
Yep. Happy birthday.
Family birthday celebrations. Missed a few last week. Fabian Sotelo's wife, Robin, had a birthday on the 1st. Ted Torres' wife, Valerie, had a birthday on the 2nd. Norma Barraza, Jose's wife, had a birthday yesterday. And then Laurel Moore has a birthday today.
Wow, fantastic.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, family.
Shout outs. Linda wanted to give a shout out to, the brothers wanted to give a shout out to Tracy Holloway for handling yesterday morning like a true champion. The brothers threw a lot at him real quick and he made it look easy.
Yep, he did a good job.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy.
Lots
Again.
of changes, addition, subtraction,
Yep.
multiplication when it's, we were supposed to have all that rain and we didn't first thing in the morning.
Right.
And super frustrating on how to dispatch that stuff and what's going to go, what's going to cancel, how much rain are we going to get? It is always a moving target.
Yeah, but trying to count on the prediction is just getting old, too.
It
You know,
is.
I know it's in the notes later, but,
Yep.
Right.
we could have got some trucking done in the morning and
Oh, heck
everybody
yeah.
else said it was going to pour. So,
Yeah. And it's also kind of out of our hands because our customers cancel. They don't order or.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Or they order and have to cancel.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It truly is a no-win situation.
We make a right, the day goes left. We make a left, the day goes
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So, speaking of Tracy, he wants to give a shout out to the night mechanics. Says Jam, Stephanie from Offen called and wanted to say thank you to the night crew in the shop last night. She didn't have any names, but when their truck was unloading fuel, it was having some mechanical issue and the Offen shop was not able to fix what was needed. Our guys jumped in and fixed the issue, and was able to get the driver unloaded. She will be sending over pizza for the night crew. So
That's awesome.
Nice
Yeah,
job.
that's awesome. That's a brotherhood right there. That's good stuff.
I know that was from last week. Did they do that? Did they get pizzas?
Well, there was a bunch of pizza boxes everywhere one morning that it threw away. So
My guess is they got pizzas then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say something about that. Oh, your shop can't fix it? No problem. We got you.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
No charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for bringing up fuel. Linda says, hi, all. Got a call from a gentleman named Peter Young. He lives on 120th and Tower. He wanted to call and compliment our drivers for never using their Jake brakes in the area. He said we have some of the better drivers out there. They stop for the stop signs, leave room for cars, and stay off the Jakes. He repeated several times that the other companies in their big penis trucks hit their Jakes a lot and rattle his house. Had to try hard not to laugh out loud. Thought he said Pete's at first, but he definitely said big penis.
Linda was almost blushing when she was explaining that.
He said he wanted the higher-ups to know our drivers are doing great, and he appreciates it. He said he works in landscape and gets all kinds of complaint calls. He knew we would appreciate a good call-in. And, man, he is so right. Especially in that area where we used to get that one call in from that lady all the time about how bad we suck. Well, obviously it wasn't us.
I do kind of want to jump in there, though, and discuss it just a little bit because it's all about to pass. But, I mean, our engine brakes are so quiet with our exhaust system. Pretty good odds everyone's using their Jakes, especially with our new efficiency requirement through there. But that's just how darn quiet the trucks are, which is, to me, it's a win-win. We're in stealth mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just the new engines themselves idling are so much quieter. Quieter in the cab makes it easier, for a long day for the driver. But here's what I want to discuss is versus the big penis trucks, which cracks me up because, so many of those are straight stacked, and the Jakes. I just saw a Facebook video from. It was actually a former employee that has his own truck now, and he was running through the I-70 tunnels, and I'm not talking Eisenhower, right over here off Colorado Boulevard, those tunnels, under the park there on I-70, and he kind of joked in his little video like, I'm even bobtailing, I can't help but run my Jakes through here, and he rattles off the Jakes, and it was kind of funny because they're not hitting on all three stages at first, and then they kick in, from 2 to 3 stages, and it is just truly obnoxious, you guys. I could see it scaring a driver in a car next to him. And here's the big thing. The last day of legislation is today, and they passed a bill while they were in session this year for the last 5 months that the state patrol will start inspecting these trucks. They're going to start hunting them down, and that's a $2,000 fine. Yeah, $2,000 fine for those engine brakes and for the loud trucks.
Yeah, for no muffler.
No muffler.
What decibel? Is it decibel thing?
They don't state decibel. Yeah. So it's up to the cop's discretion to ticket you on that. And it's going to be it's a state law and regulation. So I don't know if any of the cities and counties can adopt that or how that works. But I mean, definitely state patrol is going to be looking for it. And it doesn't matter if you're pulling up a hill and the truck goes by. You're loud. If you're going down the hill and your Jakes are on, you're loud, so it's going to be pretty interesting. Then even if they will offer you after you write that $2,000 ticket, it's called a fix-it ticket. That's still a $500 fine after you provide proof you put a muffler on. Now, I don't know. I'm all.
So they initially write it for $2,000, but if you put a muffler on, they reduce it to $500.
Correct. It's called a fix-it.
If you show a receipt or something.
I'm sure you have to show a receipt and proof, like a picture or which they're not going to know, Dave, unless there's, some way to get a picture of the VIN and the muffler at the same time. And depending on, that'll go underneath. So there's no way to do that. It's going to be interesting, but I think State Patrol is just going to have a heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, they can sit right on Floyd Hill either direction and be like, oh, I'm going to stop this one. Going to stop this one. I mean, there would be no problem to make $50,000 in fines one day.
Yeah.
For the State Patrol.
Let those red trucks by, though. We'll be wasting our time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's the thing, back in the day, we we'd have to pay attention to the
Yeah.
engine brake signs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now they're meaningless. It's like, that's for the other people.
I remember when they first put that muffler law into place, and they would sit outside the gravel pits,
Yeah.
and they'd have you tip your hood and look for a muffler under there.
Yeah, that law's still been there, but now they gave the whole thing teeth, Dave.
Yeah.
Because it was not being enforced and abused. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how, they say like the snowball effect, or the trucker's term is shit rolls downhill is another version of that. But I guarantee you, with the shortfall the state has, the governor is putting pressure on every entity to make money, right? The state patrol is a government entity. I guarantee you that governor is telling the captain or the colonel of the state patrol, we need to make some money. How do we make some money? Well, easy way to make some money is find those truckers that are running stacks like that.
Highway robbery.
Yep. Yeah. Literally, Jam. Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how all that changes.
Or if they have the manpower to enforce it.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Jim, you want to take the next one? It's your shout out.
Yeah, I sure can. I wanted to kind of back up a little bit because I have the same conversation for that gentleman to call in about the big penis trucks. Usually there's quite a bit of effort. If you make somebody mad enough that they take the time to call in, you've made them pretty mad. I mean, they really have to stop and do something. So I just want to emphasize that to call in on something good, to take time out of a person's day to call in. And he said, I know you'd appreciate it. It seems like he owns his own business or, works in the landscaping business. And, that's just time out of your day. I don't know if I would do that unless it was something really good. Bad, I probably wouldn't. Good, I would try to take the time because it's so uncommon, And, Jam asked me to take this next piece, and literally my neighbor, I was headed out Sunday morning about 10 o'clock. She's out working her yard, and I go by her yard there, and she waves me down and stops me and comes out to the street, and she goes, "Hey, I've just been meaning to stop you and tell you that your trucks are amazing." She goes, I pass them. She goes out to I-25, and she goes, I don't know which school she works for, but I know she's a teacher, and she drives down I-25 all the time. And she goes, whenever she goes out to Highway 7 and goes on, gets on there, she said, our trucks are always in the right-hand lane. She even jokes, she goes, once in a while I see them in the middle lane. She goes, but they're never in the fast lane. They have plenty of space. They seem to be courteous. She said the thing that really surprised her is they seem to be aware of the other people around her and to be courteous no matter how they're acting. She actually picked that out. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. I mean, the same with Peter Young there that called in, and my neighbor, her name is Shelley, just to take the time and do that. I mean, she could have just kept working in her yard, but, she interrupted her day to take that time. And I guess what we continue to harp on, and, we have your back, we do the training, and we talked last week quite a bit about when you leave here, that you're going to be taking all these skills that we've taught you and showed you and preached to you to other places, that you're a better driver and a better person. It's paying off. These are the things we are reaping. These guys, they're just the public. Sure, it happens to be my neighbor, but otherwise, I really don't know her. Hi, a wave, whatever. Peter Young, he's funny. The big penis trucks. Couple of nuts usually are driving big penis trucks.
There he goes. There he goes.
I mean, Jim, it's so funny that he's coined that phrase, right? You know what I mean? Because guess what? He's had some incidences or ran into those guys, and they haven't done well. It hasn't ended well for him. And I bet if he's in landscape, a lot of them deliver to his place.
Yeah,
True, Dave.
Yeah, they're rattling the.
And I mean, I just gave you a story about two trucks that pulled in at the wholesale landscape yard on Road 2 by your house.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Two big penis trucks, rock trailers, couple young guys driving them, different companies, I believe, but still a couple independent guys. And you guys, I'm standing there, Janet and I are trying to pick out some landscape rock for our yard, and I just hear these jakes, and it's like, I bet those are coming in here. And sure enough, here come two sleeper extended hood Pete's, 20-year-old trucks, beat up, dented, who knows how many millions of miles and a couple rock trailers. And sure enough, they wheel in there, and it was just a bad look. I felt sorry for the two guys because they had no training dumping. Their dumping procedures were the absolute. I wanted to go over there and be like, here, let me show you. This is how you do this. You know what I mean? After watching the first guy, and then the second guy was worse.
Yeah, and you told me they were jackknifed, right? One guy was jackknifed
sleeper trucks dumping. Yeah, and I'm like, and they're rock trailers.
They won't be in business long, Dave.
Right. But that's our problem. Those are our guys out on the road. That's our brethren creating this, the big penis truck image that's bad for us. They're the ones on the road. And Jim, I wanted to follow up or piggyback on top of what you said. What's amazing about Shelley, your neighbor, and this is a total stereotype. It's a woman, right? She's a school teacher. Mm-hmm. They don't pay attention to trucks.
What does she have? I mean, she just knows, because I've had a truck at home, and she knows what I do, right? I mean, that's it.
But I mean, that's so many people, men or women, don't pay attention to that.
Yeah, and
they don't put two and two together, and she does. She does.
Really, and it sounds bad, just like you're trying not to say, is she doesn't know anything.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not in the business.
That's the stereotype, right,
yeah,
Jim?
Right?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, exactly. But she knew enough to go, wow, those trucks are different. You're talking to somebody that has not in our business, not in our culture, nothing, right. And we stick out.
Yep.
Because, doing it right is hard.
Yeah.
It's the better way. That's we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I was going to mention, if she notices that, the state patrol does.
Oh, yeah.
That other people in positions that,
right.
matter,
right?
They notice too.
But look at the daily grind it is for us to continue to raise that bar. I mean, every day, that we're on the radio saying slow down, or did you know you had these lights out, or you know what I mean? And this is such a positive side. I don't want to, dump in on the negative by any means and change it, but it's still, we have to still work hard, meaning all of us, not just the guys at this table here.
Every one of us.
To keep our bar high.
Yeah. Jim, you said doing it right is hard, but sticking out for the right reasons is easy. You just got to do it right.
Yeah. I mean, what it does is easy. That's the crazy thing about it, is like low road trucking, that is easy.
Just thought of a good business idea.
Yeah.
Low road trucking. We don't do it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so easy. And Dave, the next one here on my notes, I don't, like you said, I don't want to go on the low road or keep it positive, but got to kick this out that I was running the loader at yard 23, had been for the last couple days, ran it Saturday and stuff like that. And it's got the CB in the loader. And of course, everybody comes in talking on the radio, have no idea that I'm in the loader. And for a little bitty radio, and I don't know where the antenna is, it hears everything, you guys.
I think it doesn't have one. I think it broke off 10 years ago.
Well, Dave, the squelch must be all the way down, because I could hear whatever I wanted to sitting in there. And it, no matter how hard we work on the culture, and I thought about the podcast, is because we're paying you to listen to the podcast, and, to try to make us better and hear all the information. And I didn't really recognize the guys' voice or know who they were, and I believe, so I might be gossiping, but I took it that the couple of drivers, our drivers, were talking about the salt haul canceling last week, and they had no idea why. And they think there's some lease trucks running, and there was like a comment over the over the road trucks doing it, and there probably is some over-the-road trucks doing it because they do it for a less price, because they're on that side, need to get to here, and they're grabbing a load. And I don't know about lease trucks in our business, but, we have salt hauled in, our blue salt hauled in by leased trucks that they lease because they're moving different loads, or they need loads, right? So that's the reason it's being done. And it's not like we lost the haul, but there was a disgruntled air about their comments that why are these other guys doing it? It just canceled on us. I don't know why. I'm ready to do it, and then the final comment was, well, if it slows up around here, I'm out, and, it's funny that we talk on this podcast about the culture and how hard we work to get loads and what it takes. And, on top of that, we've been so busy until the last few rain days, we're having trouble finding people to cover the work, and grab that last load and different stuff like that. And then you hear the conversation on the radio. And I just kind of want to remind everybody that is a CB. It's Citizens Band. Every citizen that has one can listen to you. And whether it's taken out of context, whether it's, how it's thought of when you talk ill of somebody, all of that is just put out over the airwaves. So I just urge everybody to watch what's being said on the radio. And then the big thing about it is don't gossip about it. Ask people who are in the know that can help you go. Ask, why aren't we hauling salt? Why did that stop all of a sudden? Why did you cancel our loads? Ask, and we'll give you a reason. At least when we give you a reason, that's what I want to hear on the CB, and the real reason is the pile over there at 88th is huge. Okay. We didn't have the amount of snow in March that they were hoping for to run down the pile with local deliveries. So they've just shut us off for right now. They can't afford to have any more salt brought in like we were. They will take salt from the guys that have a little less price because it's a backhaul for them. I mean, they'll still allow us to grab a load every once in a while, like if we haul on a golf course in Grand Junction. You know what I mean? They'll still let us haul a load of salt back, but that's the real reason. But then on top of it, if you happen to be at 88th or you happen to be someplace bad mouthing that, and somebody in that business would hear you and go, "Oh, JFW's just talking about shit. We shut them off," and they get all pissed off about it. It's all of that stuff, and it all comes back to being better, being positive and knowing. And I, got to throw it out to dispatch. Dispatch, if you're not explaining to the drivers what's going on and giving some feedback on what you're changing, bad on you guys. We're a company that communicates. We don't hide things. We try to be upfront. We have reasons for things, and things happen. Just like, I think somebody asked this morning, how come we didn't work yesterday? And you're just like, man, it's raining. We can't get past that. And our customers, Brannon's customers, they can't afford to have all that mud ruined if it rains or it don't rain. And you can't cover it unless it's an inside pour. There's so many, you said it earlier before the podcast, Jam. We're going right, our customer's going left. We go left, they go right. It's very hard to keep up with. So yeah, just another tidbit. We try to say everything here on the podcast to cover ourselves. And I just hope everybody will ask before they gossip.
And trust your leadership. I mean, we have 110 trucks, I believe, all, if not 90% of them have truck payments. So we're going to get all the work that we could possibly get. When we miss a load, trust me, it's talked about in the office. Like, we should have got one more load today. How come we didn't? You know what I mean? So it is the sense of urgency in the office to go get those loads is probably greater than the sense of urgency you have to go get it, because we want to get it no matter what. Some of you guys will get it no matter what, but man, just have a little trust in the leadership here and what's going on, and know that we have your best interest in mind.
Yeah. And, back to kind of the comment, if it slows down, I'm out of here. I mean, there's sure a lot of work here, and I think we had one of the best winters we had in a long time. And we really didn't have a winter. Yeah. I couldn't imagine if we had a winter and they really needed the salt,
right? And
along with the snow removal, there's a lot of good things here. You have to sit back and look at the big picture. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think 25 has definitely got a different feel than 24 did.
It does for sure, Jim. Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else on that, guys?
No, good.
All right. Also, just getting back to the big penis trucks, just a fun fact is,
I think you just like saying that.
That's all our fleet used to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's every single truck used to be a truck like that. But as technology improved, so did we. Xavier Parrish, he wants to give a shout out to Clint. That's Clint Canmore, for walking him through dumping a heavier load down at 13. The loader got him at 84K, and he was a little nervous dumping a bit heavy, but Clint helped him out. Thank you for looking out for a brother, Clint. Great job. I got to tell you, Clint Canmore, for being a new guy, you could tell he's a guy that will give you the shirt off his back. He just wants to help and be helpful and be useful, and he's a good guy to have around.
Totally agree, Jam. I went over some stuff with him months ago. I mean, I think it was back in 24, one of our first snow removals at Rolla, and he was new in a rock trailer and, filling in a rock trailer for the snow removal. I just went over everything with him, and he just did a great job, listens, understands, always so grateful when you see him at night. And you know what I mean? Yeah. Just all around seems like an awesome dude. So
he's got the attitude, the gratitude, and the effort.
Yes.
Yep. Dustin Courier. Hey, I got a shout out for the pod to my daughter Kimberly's softball team, the Colorado Wild, Cage 16U, on winning the USA tournament this weekend. They played hard and had to dig really deep the last game as they had to play through injuries.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I saw the ring on there. It looks like a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah,
man.
The ring is no joke.
Yeah,
I'm like,
really cool.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. That league must cost some money to get a ring like that. This is yours, BD. You want to give the next one?
Yeah. Shout out to Matt Cummins. I heard him on the radio. I think it was Monday. I could be wrong, but anyway, having some problems with the antifreeze leak, and then I intermittently heard it a little bit later or whatever, and turns out he found clamp was loose on his upper radiator hose or lower radiator hose, but the upper clamp, and he crawled under, fixed it. I believe he had some antifreeze, topped it off, and he just kept himself trucking. It was probably all of 5 minutes or 10 minutes worth of work versus sitting there for an hour and a half waiting for the shop to show up, and that's just awesome. Because how many times do we hear on the radio, the shop asks, where's the antifreeze coming from? It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Someone has to know. Someone's got to figure it out,
Right.
And I do get it's difficult sometimes. And we do, we've talked about it on here before when the radiator cap has pressure on it and that the overflow cap is blowing off, because we pressurized the system, then antifreeze is everywhere, right? Because it started at the top.
The fan can blow it too.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to Matt. He just, good dude. He's been handling the Frito-Lay trailer and he just gets it done.
Yep. That is a go-getter.
Yeah. Silent warrior.
Yeah, definitely silent. Linda wants to give a shout out for during Chorus Saturday night. Thank you to OCL for coming back to do Oscar Blues delivery. It's much appreciated. So that's another guy that definitely works hard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then to Linda also wants to give a shout out. Thank you, Troy Hunt, for grabbing a late emergency load from the Avery Brewing. Much appreciated. He may or may not have to call in on his way out there, but that's neither here nor there. Shout out to these three drivers for doing it right. This week's Doing It Right drivers, that's driving, dumping, pulling on a scale, and no phone use, will be Eric Eichner, Pedro Magallanes, and Jesus Arujo.
Nice. Congratulations,
guys.
you guys.
Great job, guys.
That is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yes.
It makes us smile.
Yes.
You guys have any other shout outs before we move on to the discussion?
I have one.
Great.
I want to give a shout out to Kendrick. We kind of he just slipped right in the door Monday and just went right back at it. Like he hasn't been gone at all. And it's just great to have you back, Kendrick.
Yep.
I don't know if everyone knows, but he was out and spent a fair amount of time with his father before he passed away. And, condolences to you for sure, Kendrick. I know we've shared that already, but yeah, he's gotten through all that and back. And seriously, it's like he hasn't missed a beat. It was like he left last week and for Saturday, Sunday, and was back Monday,
Yeah,
so.
It was weird. I came up here to grab a shirt or a hat or something. I can't remember what. And I heard a voice and I was like, peripheral vision. I seen a bald head. I was like, is that Kendrick? I was like, I knew you were coming back, but wow, you're here. Yep, definitely good to see him and have him back on the team.
What's cool is I didn't see anyone interact with him that when he showed up and they saw him for the first time that didn't give him a hug.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every single person that I saw greet him for the very first time They hugged.
That's
you know what I
family.
mean? That was cool.
That's
I
some
thought
family,
that was awesome.
family stuff right
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. And it was funny too. And Dave was there too, cause he's trying to get caught up and go over the stuff and, all the stuff you have to do. Like Dave said, it barely looked like he missed. And then, we're filling the hole back up there with dirt and they were short a person. And so we grabbed Kendrick and he ran the dozer all day. Hasn't never ran a dozer,
Yeah,
not
all
a
day
damn
Monday.
thing. We were just like, welcome back, Kendrick. Here's something new. Threw him in there and he struggled for a little bit in the morning, just like anybody would being brand new. And then, I mean, he was by the afternoon, he was
getting it.
he was knocking some
Yep.
dirt down. Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you, Kendrick. You were missed. Buddy.
Yeah. Pleasure to have you back. We're thankful.
That's awesome. All right, let's get into the discussion. No dispatch, no problem. Just be here at 5 a.m. unless a Connect team message has gone out stating otherwise. So, for example, up until 2 days ago, we have a 5 a.m. start again until October, November, before the weather starts.
Right.
Right? Typically, it's going to be 5 a.m. every day. We're going to make hay when the sun shines, and there's no reason not to be here. Occasionally, dispatch will not send somebody a dispatch unintentionally. Just be here at 5. We'll put you to work. Unless there's been a message that you're not working or if you didn't get a dispatch, blase, blase.
I kind of think a lot of that goes hand in hand too, Jam. I mean, they've been talking about this monsoon week,
Right.
Since last week. I don't watch the weather, so I don't pay any attention to it. Again, Thursday I was off and swung in and grabbed some iron for my yard to put down. And as I was walking out with the bag of iron in my hand, the guy goes past me and he's like, "Oh, you going to get that down before the monsoon hits next week?" I'm like, "What? It's supposed to rain?" But I mean, that's like, I guess everyone should be hearing these things go, "Oh, I wonder if there's going to be a change in the weather. I wonder if that's going to change our workload or anything like that." So we've got another portion to talk about on here, but kind of put 2 and 2 together. You know what I mean? Be aware. That's kind of situational awareness. We will be a little slower when it rains, most likely. So pay attention to that. Be engaged on Connect.
That's
right?
a big one.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. These are our communication platforms, and you just need to take, it's 1 minute. It's not even a minute.
Yep.
Right? Just take a look. So be on it. Be aware of your game.
We'll never be upset if you call asking if there's been a mistake. You don't have a dispatch.
Yeah.
That's a good way to find out. Call before 6 p.m. the night before.
Yeah.
We'll get you going.
Yep.
So, ST, want to take this next one? It's yours.
Yep, sure is. So how many times have you hollered at somebody else in one of the other JFW trucks to give them an important notification, like about a speed trap or an accident or a loading location? Hey, they're loading off the stockpile, or hey, they're loading off the belt, or a dumping location. You got to turn in the east gate and go south and you'll see the pile on your left. It is so important that you keep your radio turned on. Not only the company radio, but the CB radio. I mean, and I get it if you're listening to music or something, but you got to have it turned up so you can key in on it when somebody's yelling at you, JFW, JFW. And it's not only our drivers, but others like operators in the plants. They'll want to get a hold of you as well to tell you to put it in bin 1 or bin 2 or bin 3. You can't just tune everybody out just because you left it on the pit channel and you're not on channel 23 or channel 17 when you drive into one of the plants. A very, very important story that I can tell you about Chuck. You guys remember Chuck?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we were all delivering to this job site. It was actually building the bridge that goes over the Boulder Turnpike, which is a new 120th Avenue bridge. Okay. And we were building that like base up to where they could, make the bridge, in other words, raising it above the level of the highway. And we were hauling many, many days on that job from Arcosa, was where we were loading the material. But during the course of that day, our grade had risen, right? We were all dumping in the same general area all day with no trouble. Well, at 3:00 in the afternoon, Chuck showed up and he didn't realize that the grade had risen so much. When he dumped in that spot that the operator told him to dump into, he hit the power lines because it was so high. All day long we were dumping there, but it hadn't been that high, right? And Doogie, myself, all these guys that were there were like, Chuck, stop, Chuck, stop. We tried on the CB radio, we tried on the company radio, and Chuck had both radios turned off, and he was oblivious to anything going on around him. And guess what? He hit the power lines, 140,000 volts, if I'm not mistaken. They were high voltage lines.
Dave, I just know it's the transfer line that goes from one side of the highway to the other for the power between the cities.
Right. And we pretty much melted the truck to the ground on that. When we all showed up the next day to come get our truck, the ground was still too hot to touch.
Yeah, it was smoking,
for longer than a couple seconds. You'd put your hand down on that ground and it was still, 24 hours later, it was still that hot.
Yeah.
And Mikey, being amazing, he was able to cut the truck in half and redo it with a frame and a set of wheels and axles and stuff from a reclaimed truck. But we did get that truck back out on the road. But the whole accident could have been avoided if Chuck just had his radios turned on.
Yeah, those are those moments too, Dave. It's like you remember where you were at when the space shuttle exploded, and
right.
When 9/11 happened and things like that. And it was my Saturday, and I heard that call on the radio, and Doogie it was urgent. The urgency in his voice was like, Chuck, you're in the power lines. Let it. You know what I mean? The urgency was there.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, I knew instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly this was going to be bad.
Yeah.
And we got up there, and I mean, the aluminum wheels melted like solder. Like if you've ever soldered a copper pipe together and you've seen the solder melt because the copper is so hot, our aluminum wheels melted. I mean, we finally threw it away after years and years and years, but we probably had like a 3-foot chunk of aluminum.
Well, that was the cross member.
Yeah, whatever it was. I mean, it melted off of the truck. And, it was really horrible because, just to further explain the story, is once he was in the power lines, he couldn't let the trailer down because it would have torn the lines down. And then by the time Chuck figured out this was bad, he jumped out of the truck.
Yeah, I was going to say, add the safety note to that, Dave.
So the tires are melting. They're on fire. They're smoking. The fire department shows up, and everybody just stood there and looked at it. And we're like, aren't you going to put it out? And they're like, that's electricity. If we put water on it, we'll be electrocuted. So all of us just stood there and watched the truck continue to melt until they shut the power off.
They were waiting for Excel to come and shut that transformer down.
Yeah, it didn't break that's the problem. It didn't blow the transformer.
Yeah.
It should have happened because, like you said, Dave, you remember, because you called me. I was at home.
Right.
And I ran down there. And when I showed up, the truck was, started to be on fire, started to burn. But, the things you just don't ever believe is you could see the electricity dancing on the ground.
Yes, around
the truck, finding its ground. And
I
mean, that's just shitloads of power. It's amazing things that you don't realize can happen, But the safety thing, if, on a note on that, is if you guys are ever in a power line, if you ever hit a power line, if, anything like that going on, you have to stay in the truck.
Yeah,
Do not jump, because your jump or any piece you're holding onto the truck and hit the ground, you're the weakest point. You become the ground, and you will be killed. And I mean, Chuck, he lucked out. We lucked out all the whole bit, you guys, and very, very serious. You guys have to stay in your truck. And, through the years, we've had people call that, hey, my tires are blowing out, what's going on? And they're on the radio, and, we ask that question, are you in a power line? And they're like, oh my God, I am. And, then it goes crazy from there. But please, if you ever do that, just stay in your truck. You have to stay in your truck.
Chuck is lucky to be alive.
Oh,
absolutely.
He grabbed his lunchbox and he got on the lowest step on his truck. and he barely jumped like 3 feet because he was a short, fat guy with these little short legs. But he made it. He's alive today.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All could have been avoided if he had his radios turned on.
Yeah.
Did anybody ask him why his radio was off?
He was listening to music. Yep. He was a big music guy.
Gotcha.
Which is great. Listen to music all you want, but you got to leave your radios on.
Especially, I mean, I don't want to make an exception, but especially in a job site.
Right.
I mean, it just is
so,
a must.
Yeah. So when we pulled onto that job site, there was all kinds of equipment running around. Yeah. We had to go, if I remember correctly, we had to go to channel 28. And when we would go there, an operator that was pushing the piles down and creating grade told us where to go. Go to the north, and dump out at the end of that other pile. And
I'm almost positive he didn't do that either.
He did
I
not.
thought he just dumped he after the next guy dumped.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And then pulled into the pile, or pulled into the wires, and then the pile was behind him, and he couldn't let his trailer down.
Correct. He couldn't go back down because the pile was behind him.
Yeah,
and it got caught underneath his tarp bar.
Exactly.
So the trailer was hung up on the wire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So crazy stuff. All could have been avoided.
Yep.
Paying attention, being engaged, communicating, being prepared on the job site, just doing your job. Right. So
I keyed in on the being engaged part.
Right.
That encompasses all that.
Well, situational awareness.
Absolutely.
You're part of another situation at the moment. You got to focus on it.
Right.
You'll hear that song again.
So the current situation on medical cards has changed.
Man, it's
big time too. Yes.
It's going to be an interesting path how they navigate this, because I just don't have a lot of trust in their communication. Meaning, I feel like they just kind of had a really good thing set up. You'd get your new medical card. We could turn it in. We'd get a communication that they received the email.
Motor vehicle.
You could check the next day or the day after, verify they received it.
Not no more.
Yeah, life was good. And now, I mean, Dave, you probably have it memorized or can explain it better than I can. Or Jam, either one.
Yeah, I mean, at first we had to fax the copy of the medical card over and, check back in 2 days and stuff. And nowadays we were able to just upload it and send a quick email that Dr. Deb provided to us. And it was really quick and easy. And now we're going to have to forward it to the federal government, to the FMCSA website. And from my experience dealing with the clearinghouse and the drug and alcohol part of things, that's part of my job. When the clearinghouse first came into existence, it was a mess. They had no processes laid out. You could send your information over there and they wouldn't get it. They didn't have, any way to follow up if somebody was actually in the clearinghouse or not. Well, here we are 5 years later and it's working pretty smoothly. The clearinghouse is absolutely great. It has all these checks and balances to make sure people are entered, people are following up in there. So at first, I think it's going to be a mess putting your medical cards into that website. But I think this is going to sound crazy, but after 2 or 3 years, it'll probably be okay.
I hope so, Dave, because it seems daunting. I just pulled it up here, and yeah, it changed April 27th. Last month is the date, and they're not transitioning all 50 states at once. It's one state at a time.
Yep, correct.
Because it's such a big jump. They don't want to overwhelm everyone. So, yeah, I just hope they have the ability to communicate to all the entities that are going to be required for us to retain our Colorado CDL without any hiccups.
Right.
That I guess that's my biggest concern. 3 months from now, I don't want to be going through the port and they're like, "Oh,
go shut down."
That's what's going to happen.
Where's your medical card? And I'm like, "What do you mean? Where's my medical card?" You show them your card in the wallet. It's like, well, this is no good.
Yeah.
Like, no. What do you mean it's no good?
Yeah, they're going to go into their database in their car,
right?
And you're going to be,
not
canceled.
in there,
right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I worry about that.
Yeah, it'll be up to the driver now to send them in. You'll have to create a FMCSA account, and I will post up the instructions on Connect in an announcement form so everybody sees what to do.
That's a good idea.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and along with that roadside stop, have to have a discussion with the officer. If you know about this, if you learned about this, you have to advocate for yourself, have a discussion. Because like Dave said, if this if there's a problem and you're aware of it, you can talk to the officer and probably get out of it.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if there's a confirmation or a receipt or something that you get once you upload your stuff to the FMCSA website. If I was you, if there is that option, I would screenshot it, download it, save it, and just have proof that, hey, listen, I did do this on such and such a date. Something must be wrong on your end.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're ahead of the situation, it'll be better.
So here's a tool we're talking about that we're giving everyone to be engaged, to be aware, something else to give our little selves a pat on the back of, hey, we're communicating this, but it's still up to you to take it and do something with it.
Well,
And it's going to be the same problem if you go drive for somebody else.
Right.
It doesn't change. It's a tip to make you better no matter where you go.
Yep.
how does one find out about this if he doesn't pay attention to his Connect team or her Connect team and then don't listen to the podcast?
Right.
Yeah, if
Okay.
you're on, some kind of trucking podcast or something like that, or State Patrol website, or I don't even know if it's on that, but otherwise, no, Jam.
Yeah.
There's not a good way to find out about it.
Right. My experience is going to tell me people are going to come to us and say, I can't get into this account
Exactly.
because that's what people would do to me for the
Clearinghouse.
Yep.
Do you know my password?
And well, the thing that happens is they go out and get a new phone number. So they get a new email and then they can't access their account because it's connected to the old phone number.
Yeah.
And then they have to delete their account and wait 24 hours and then open a whole new one. And it's like pulling teeth to get these guys into that clearinghouse, which is our responsibility as a carrier.
Yeah.
Because we can't technically let them drive a truck if they're not in the clearinghouse.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing exactly. We can't let them drive a truck if they don't have a current medical card on file. So it's going to be tough, and we need everybody's help on this.
Absolutely.
I'll help.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Charge. From Oswaldo, if you deliver a grain load, sweep out at the dairy. Don't always rely on Ragzell to wash out. I thought that was pretty standard. You deliver your grain, you sweep it out.
Yeah. Ragsdale is the easy.
Yep.
But, sometimes you have to do the hard.
Well, I bet you they're not happy with all that grain on the ground either.
Right. Yeah. They don't want it. It easily sweeps out.
Yeah, it's a courtesy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave, to interrupt you, but yeah, it's a courtesy. Super, you're very right about that.
Yeah.
They don't. Oh, here's JFW. Let's wash them out. That's not the way it works.
And it seems to be a reoccurring thing with just a few people where it's like, I need a washout. I just delivered grain. I need a washout. I just delivered grain. I need a washout. And it's like, no, just sweep it out. You'll be fine. It's all right.
Right.
It's all good. We can go anywhere. Get the next load.
No doubt. You guys hear any fake news lately?
Well, yeah, a week ago, I heard there was a monsoon coming this week that was supposed to start Monday night, right?
Yep.
And man, did it screw up work for us yesterday morning because we could have worked.
Good 3-4 hours, Dave.
Yeah.
Because it started as a mist and then got worse.
Yeah. And
it finally got here, but.
Right.
Yeah.
But we scrambled because we canceled CMEX, loading out of Arcosa because it was like, it was going to start raining at 5 p.m. Monday night and we wouldn't be able to haul it because it was too wet or muddy or anything. And we woke up, it was perfectly dry yesterday morning. And I guess I'm so against the media because that's all they have to sell right now is the weather. And it doesn't seem to matter what channel, what you're listening to, whether you're watching TV or listening to the radio, it's drama, and it's like the drama. I hate using the word fake news, but they have these forecasts and I just hate the approach, how it's sent to us. It's ratings, it's sales. They're selling us a product, that we're buying. And that's it. That's the bottom line instead of going, hey, this is what the forecast shows. This is what everybody's talking about. I think it's going to be light or, whatever. So anyway, maybe I'm just giving them a bad ding because I don't know. It just sure feels wrong on all sorts of levels. And to me, it's ratings. The more they build it up, the more ratings they get.
Yeah.
More hype.
I think you're right, Dave. And I was just talking to Ann and, maybe some people remember, I know you do, Dave, and Super Dave, you do, but, she said she always liked watching Stormy Rotman on the news.
Yeah.
He would say, this is what everybody says. And she goes, I remember him going, but I've grown up here in Colorado, or I've been here in Colorado a lot. This is what I think will really happen.
Yep.
And, let's watch the radar and go through all that stuff. It's not the sensationalism of a week before calling for monsoons and the amount of rain. He never did that. So there is a difference in the journalism and how you get ratings and how you get people to watch and who can make it sound the worst. Nobody wants to hear about a sunny day, but they sure want to hear about the monsoons and, hey, I can't make it into work. And it's an excuse drama driven society.
I mean, Jim, literally on Thursday afternoon, or it was probably evening when I was walking out with the fertilizer. And that guy tells me, oh, you better get that down before the monsoons hit next week, or you're getting that down perfect time before that was 5 days before it was supposed to rain. 5 days. Come on. Don't tell me that's not a ratings scandal that they're trying to sell us. And the frustrating part is how it impacts our work. It costs everyone here money. It costs every single driver, every employee, everyone's family money. It costs the companies we work for. It costs the companies they work for, and it's down the line. And it should be illegal.
Yeah. And something we talked about just recently too is the AI to me has gotten way out of hand. You really can't tell when something's fake anymore.
Right.
It is so amazing. And I find it even harder and harder to believe anything on social media. It's getting
to the point you can't decipher what's true and not.
I mean, we just had a whole discussion a couple of weeks ago. Remember Scooby was thinking the Pickers, that show, and they advertised on there that the one skinny guy, excuse me guys, killed the heavyset guy.
Yeah.
And
was in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And it was all fake.
Yeah.
And whether you're, tricked by that or whatever, you have to figure it out that lots of people believe that.
Right.
And that, like you said, Dave, that's wrong. That shouldn't be.
On every level.
Somebody's been convicted of a murder he didn't even do. So people really believe that about that guy.
Yes.
And it's wrong. And I've seen some interviews now where AI takes over and it's like, I'm going to say it's like the Joker from the Nuggets, and AI is taken over and he's like, yeah, like F the rest of the team. I'm tired of being the one that, makes all the baskets and do all that. And he does this whole tirade and you think it's him and it's not. It's all AI. And the only thing that really looks funny is his lips and mouth doesn't really match the video, but you can't tell.
Man, I've been seeing a lot of those sports interviews, and they use AI to make the players say something completely.
That's what I'm talking about, Jam.
Yeah. I must have looked up Caitlin Clark or something a while ago, and I am a fan, by the way. But anyway, I get tons of stuff that from the AI that, like, she's leaving the team or she's done this or and like all of it is fake.
When I see she went to Canada, play.
Yeah. I mean, just all sorts of stuff.
I know she just was injured and then came back in her first game the other night. I guess she rocked it.
Really?
Like she was a sensation.
Well, she's got 2 new teammates that are pretty badass. I mean, what she has done for the women's NBA is just, I would love, that's almost an event I would travel to see a game, see that team play another team. And of course we don't have a women's basketball team here, but yeah, I mean, what she's done to the sport is mind dropping. So yeah, very, very cool stuff, man.
It's awesome.
How long has she been a pro?
1 year.
Yeah.
She just graduated from Iowa last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No joke added to that. I felt like that was a joke moment for some reason.
No, you just thought I don't follow sports. I know who Caitlin Clark is.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the name of one other women's NBA team. I don't even know. I mean, I know she plays for the Fever. That's it.
I mean, I don't even know the name of the one girl that was trapped in Russia or held hostage. The marijuana girl.
Grinner.
Oh, Brittany Greer.
Griner.
Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
Brittany Griner.
I heard she's in more trouble. Something else happened with her.
Man, I could be wrong. I won't say it because I'm probably wrong.
It's probably AI.
Most likely, Jam. Yeah. So, yeah.
Say it anyway.
Heard she was kicked off the Team USA, and Caitlin took her place.
Oh, perfect.
But I don't know that. But
That's fake news.
yeah, honestly,
Yeah, you
Dave,
don't.
I
You don't.
I
know.
don't know.
That's
Yeah,
what the.
that's the reason I was
It's so
hesitant to
difficult,
say anything.
You know.
Not like I can't probably dive in and
Yeah.
look at it, but we kind of got one
I mean-
or two more important.
I mean,
things.
for realism, this is as close as you can get right here on this podcast.
It doesn't get more truth-based
Yeah.
than
And
this.
do we make mistakes? Absolutely.
Well, maybe you do. I don't.
Well, there's a mistake.
I only make the ones Chris Beam catches.
When I make a mistake, it's a big one. All right, let's get into what's next. I should have moved Marshall down to this, but we want to have Marshall on. Can we make that happen? He's
Yeah.
agreed to it.
Absolutely.
I want to be prepared for Marshall. Marshall's deeper than you may think. Marshall, there's some depth to Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sure.
I want to stalk him a little bit and see if there's any internet AI dirt on him. And,
Oh, watch your six, Marshall. If Jam's
Yeah.
going to stalk you,
yeah.
you got a stalker, Marshall.
I hired a private investigator.
You know, and it is funny too, because Dave just talked about going by there, but how small a world it is. Because I know Marshall's father-in-law works at that landscape yard right by that.
Oh, no way. That's
Yeah.
And talked to his father-in-law last year and had no clue until Marshall said something. So yeah, small world.
It's funny because I was nosing around there and I'm like, well, how do I even ask? Where's Marshall's father-in-law
dad?
work? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know his name. How do I even ask? Hey, does someone work here whose son-in-law works at Denver Truck and Trailer? And it was irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that point, and we didn't even really deal with anyone. We just shout out to that place, that wholesale. That is the name of it, right? Wholesale Rock Yard. Isn't that the name of it, Jim?
No, Colorado something.
Well, it's
is it?
weird because there's like two names.
Yeah, I can't
'Cause
tell you for sure.
That tandem that delivers for him says Wholesale Rock Supply.
Hmm.
He has his name on the door of his truck, and then on the bed you can tell he has just like they slapped that up there. So anyway, that place was awesome to deal with as far as they just let us go in and wander around.
Oh, nice.
Like
no hard hat.
yeah, no hard hat. Like, yeah, look out. Here comes a couple big penis trucks. You better get the hell out of the way
Dang
because
it.
they ain't gonna stop for you.
Huh.
But the good news is you heard them coming.
There you go.
You heard them coming before they even got off the road.
So I ran into Marshall the other day. I was coming back from the gym, parking my truck, and he stopped. We talked for a minute. And I was like, hey, I've been noticing, because we like Marshall so much, we gave him access to Connect Team.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever say anything on there, but so he can be notified when the podcast comes out. And I've been noticing he's been taking the tests. And,
Right?
I'm like, hey, I've been noticing you've been taking the podcast knowledge challenge, And he's like, yeah, he's like, I just like to test myself and see how well I'm paying attention to things.
Yeah.
He says, because, you may be listening and get distracted for a little bit. And then that's what the question's on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a brain thing for
It
you.
is.
But I mean, how cool is that? We have people that work here that won't listen to the podcast
Right.
or take the test, or some people might not even know we have a podcast. I don't know. That's
That
how,
are being offered money.
that are disengaged.
Yeah.
Some people started, they had like a 2-week streak and now they fell off again. And it's like,
Streak.
here's a guy that doesn't work for JFW and he listens and he's engaged and he participates.
Yeah.
To better himself. And another thing he said is, well, I like to listen because what you guys do over there ultimately affects us over here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, he's joined the IPOC mailing list.
Oh, very cool.
Just
Yeah.
to being, I
Yeah.
mean, the dude is money. So,
Yeah.
That's a guy growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we have a lot of people here growing. So I think we were kind of both right, Dave, when I just looked it up. Colorado Wholesale
Okay.
Supply. So,
Okay. There you go.
yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
Colorado Wholesale Landscape Supply. Let me spit it all out there.
Yeah.
So we got the whole name.
It's so ironic, all the amount of material. I mean, we move 100,000 loads a year, and I'm at a rock yard, like having to buy rock separate. You know what I mean? But it is odd stuff. Like they have supplies there. The way we've traveled the state of Colorado and picked up materials, and I'm like, I don't know where that's from.
Yeah, where
Where do we get that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's some of the stuff that they bring up from New Mexico or, somewhere else. But I mean,
Specialties.
some of the stuff I'm like, wow, I don't even know where that came from. It's pretty mind-boggling. So
Right.
What did you get?
some
3/4
a
wash?
little bit of Red Breeze, but some other like flags. Well, I haven't gotten anything yet, but
Gotcha.
that's the plan.
Gotcha. Flagstone?
Yeah, some flagstone. Yeah, Jim,
Nice.
I'll need some flagstone and some block for a block wall. Like I say, I haven't gotten anything yet because the landscaper needs to give me a price first.
Huh.
Because it's, I guess our yard is just old enough, Jam, that like everything needs redone.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? You're just in that. It's like you can't not do this spot and not do this spot and this spot and this spot and this spot and yeah.
Yeah, or the rock almost needs to be pulled out like at my house
Jim, and all the weed barriers bad.
and screened.
Right.
If that's, I don't even know if you can do that,
Yeah.
re-put it in. And then, Holly, she loves to have the house remulched, and we've done it year after year, and we had somebody do it last year for the first time. But it is so nice when you do that,
Right.
but it just doesn't last that long.
Right.
Even the
Yeah.
good gorilla mulch.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing battle. And I have to, say about Colorado Supply, because I just took 0017 because I wanted 2 materials, and I knew I was just going to one of the pup, one of the tandem, right? And I'd be done and get, back up my driveway. And when I pulled on there, and I think I said it in that one podcast last year, trying to explain, I want to weigh the tractor, and then I want to weigh the tandem or, the pup, and there's not much tongue weight there, and just give me a tear, and then you'll know. She goes, oh, we'll just put 1 ton. We're just all the same price. It's like, no, I'm going to get some cobble, and I know that's this price. And then I'm going to get I got Gray Breeze.
Yeah.
And in the front, I know you guys got another price. It can't be all one price. And, it was just educational to work with them and go, oh, I see what you're doing. And, it just seemed different, to work with somebody that, doesn't have the knowledge, but all that material.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Dispatch wants to remind everybody we are still looking for Saturday night course drivers. So if you want to do something a little different with a little less traffic and a little less heat, volunteer for Saturday night course.
Saturday night.
And aren't we doing something with Working Monday then, or something? I don't want to promise something or say anything, because you can't be over hours. But are we not doing a little something there? We have to.
We'd have to ask Linda, but yeah, I'd imagine if you're flipping your schedule around to work overnight, you're going to need some kind of recovery.
Yeah, I don't know what they've done.
I just
on
don't know. I don't want to offer something that's not true.
Yeah.
But
I think that Saturday night you're off Sunday, and then back on your normal on Monday. I thought, Jim, but
could be, or you don't work Saturday day, but you get your Saturday night. Just ask if you're interested. It would be helpful for all of us, and I think there's a little bit.
It'd be really great if we had 4 or 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it just got rotated across.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't one guy getting burned out.
Yep.
And,
Brother Dave, you want to talk about this next one?
This is a big one. I'm excited about.
It's the biggest I've
Are
ever
you,
heard.
Jim? Because I kind of.
I mean, there's a lot of.
I kind of didn't ask. I kind of just did.
No, it's a good.
We're a pretty good partnership. It's like, Jim, we're gonna have a truck in the parade.
It's just good.
I guess because do you want to do this?
Yeah, because it's the Memorial Day parade.
Yeah,
it's all that stuff. It's the meaning behind that. I know we're doing other stuff. You are, or we are in the stuff. And, and I don't want to rob your deal here, but there's something behind it that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're talking about is the Memorial Day parade over here in Commerce City. I mean, I've never even attended it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until yesterday or the day before we saw those papers from Commerce City. That is the largest Memorial Day parade in the state. In the state of Colorado, it's the largest Memorial Day parade. And I knew it was always a big deal. And I know Commerce City has always been proud. I mean, they have the veteran statue over there at the rec center and stuff. And I mean, always been a cool deal. So anyway, we are participating and we're going to turn our gooseneck trailer into the Adams County Republicans float. So yeah, it's going to be a cool deal. A bunch of Adams County Republican volunteers. We're all going to get together. We're going to make the float. And then the bottom line is I'm looking for a volunteer, or we're looking for a volunteer that would like to drive the truck. We'll probably have to have the truck polished and detailed on like a Friday. So that truck will be down. So it can be polished and detailed, and pull the trailer in the parade on Monday. I have the thought the date was in there for the 26th. I guess I need to look at my calendar. The parade is on Monday, Memorial Day, whatever day that is.
I think you got.
I want to say the 26th, but
Yeah,
I need to open a calendar to
I got it right
to
here,
verify
Jim.
that. So
It is Monday the 26th.
yeah. So we'll have the float dirt all decorated and ready to go. I haven't decided whether we'll do it at Yard 23 or whether we'll do it here the day or two before and, have it all ready. So we hook up and we have to idle over to when I say idle, because the float's decorated. So believe it or not, I mean, I've done like 4 parades now with floats, and the hardest part is to get from wherever the float is at to the start. I mean, that one in Broomfield that we've done for the last 4 years, last year was the first year we didn't do it. I mean, it would take me an hour and a half to go like 4 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was painful getting over there.
Kind of cool though is either location is just about the same.
It is.
to
It
get,
is
to
Jim.
get
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I may lean on having it as decorating it here, Jim,
yeah.
just because we have a few more facilities for the volunteers that show up to decorate it.
to be.
So yeah,
That'd be cool to do it next year, and hopefully the new place.
right, Jim.
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it'd be so
yeah.
cool.
It would be outstanding. A very, very cool deal. So yeah, thank you for being excited for it, Jim. I'm excited, and it's it's a good time to get the Republican word out in Adams County. Just to jump in a few politics, it's about equal as far as voter registrations go in Adams County. It's about 26-27% registered Democrats. It's only about 23-24% registered Republicans. So just a hair under. But those are both incredibly low numbers because all the rest are registered independent. And
50%
Yep.
basically.
yeah, I think it was 46, Jim.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
And it's a good time to get the word out. The Republicans stand for faith, family, and freedom, less government. And, here in Colorado, you guys all know I'm on my soapbox all the time droning about it, but we are over governmental regulated to death. And I'm just thankful today's going to be a great day because it's the last day of the session. After today, they can't invoke any more rules or regulations on us. And we're super thankful that today's the last day because I'm pretty sure they threw some doozies in again this year. I've kind of stopped paying attention because it's just obsessed. I've been obsessed with it, and it's torn me down, and it's worn me out. And I kind of have to step out because it is what it is. We do what we do. We stay as involved as we can. And when we can squawk about it, we squawk about it. And, everybody's been fantastic and jumped in on the IPOC action notices. I can't thank everyone enough when we send those out. It's what we believe in. It's what we believe in our industry. It's what we believe is best. You don't have to do it if you don't believe in it. And that's that. We want a better Colorado, and, hopefully we can get some different leadership in here in a year and a half when the governor changes seats, and we go from there.
Another year and a half. Holy moly.
Right.
Yeah, another year of them making laws and doing all the rest of stuff. I mean, we've
A
lost
whole
it.
nother session.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Right.
Another
That's what
year.
scares me.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are they going to add in
how many
another session?
450, more laws or whatever
Yeah.
they pass. I mean, but, not to be political, but, like Dave said, it just wears you down. But, the gun rights we've lost here in Colorado, and I don't even know if it got signed in, but there was even if a law, and it probably got passed, if you weren't gendering your child right, the government
It
could
passed.
stop. Did it really pass, Dave? Yeah. If you're not gendering your child correctly, the government can just step in and take your child.
Meaning, if your child at 6 years old identifies as the opposite sex and you don't agree to call them by that, the government can take your kid.
Yes.
Pretty much, Jam. I mean, there's, in a divorce, there was some other stuff, Jam, but it's where government doesn't belong.
Right.
Liberal, conservative, whatever, less government, you guys. We cannot let the government run our lives. That's what America is based on, the freedom. That's the reason we came to America. There's no more government. And we've just, anyway, let's go.
Like Ronnie Reagan said, the government could go away for 3 or 4 months and no one would notice.
Nobody.
We would function just fine without them.
Yep.
What about after the 3 or 4 months though?
Well, Maybe we could tell them to go away permanently, right, Jam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anti-state keeps looking better and better to me.
Right?
As
Yeah.
a party.
I heard a
animal.
new word the other day and I had to look it up, but I guess they're calling that portion, and I hadn't heard this, where Washington, the people in the eastern half of Washington, and I've talked about this before, they want to move that state line from the east 200 miles west. And I had heard they wanted to be called the new Idaho. So you'd have New Idaho and Idaho, right? And now they're calling it, they've actually kind of rearranged, and it's part of Wyoming and Idaho, and they're calling it Widaho.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this,
how's the weather there?
well,
sounds appealing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the weather is. It can't be great if there's Wyoming involved in it, but yeah, I just, we're in crazy times. And
Idaho.
yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, you know, there's portions of California trying to annex from California, right? But they don't want to move. You know, portions of Washington not wanting to be part of Washington anymore. I know if we could form a Colorado in half and put the red side on one side and the blue side on the other, it would thrill me to death. You know, it's so funny just because things are so torn and twisted and weird anymore with politics. I would love to start like just a Republican bar and just call the name of it the Republican Bar. You come in if you're a Republican. If you're not, you don't come in. You don't offend anyone.
Discrimination.
But it's not, Jim. It's your option.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. You're more than welcome in, but don't get offended if you're in here.
I'm in your corner. It's discrimination.
Yep.
I love the idea.
Yeah. I would be interested how that would go.
Yeah. I mean, we have to, through this whole process, we're just days away from getting the full building permit, purchasing the building permit from Commerce City. You have to buy that. So we're just learning from the builder and stuff like that we went over it, that we also have to prepay our use tax. So we have to, they're just going to come up with a random formula that we have to pay for items that we haven't even used over the year yet to Commerce City. Meaning what world is that right that you prepay for things you've never even used
or heard of?
Yeah. I mean, it just so unbelievable that's allowed. I mean, you haven't even, I understand paying it afterwards or have an audit or whatever, but
are they trying to like alleviate that company from not using it at their old address and maybe having it delivered to their new address or something like that?
Yeah, Dave, I guess they're just, I'm sure there's people who have used it, you know, but I think no matter what, I would rather have an audit at the end of the build over what you've used, but you know, to prepay it.
Oh, it's building materials and stuff.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
So
But you're prepaying it, Dave. You're having to give them
So when we go over
$100,000
on things you haven't even used
for 18 months, for a year and a half.
I get it. No. Yeah, I get
it's
it.
ridiculous.
I thought it was like tires or batteries. It's not. It's like building material.
We're all fine with buying
nails
and
wood and steel.
We're all fine with buying it and paying the taxes on it when we buy it.
Yeah.
But we're going to pre-buy it? Okay, if we're going to pre-buy it, give me a discount on it. Right?
Yeah.
Fine, we'll pre-buy it. What's the discount?
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not worth pre-buying.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the America or the Colorado we want.
Or the Commerce City we need.
Right? Yeah. Faux show.
Safety topic of the week: keep your head on a swivel while walking around the yard. We get used to just walking around. There's a lot of big trucks and things moving and going, and we just kind of become numb to it. And we got to pay attention. Keep your head on a swivel all the time.
Yeah.
It's dangerous out there.
It is. Yeah.
What's that beeping noise? Oh, it's a truck that's about to hit me, backing up.
That's exactly the thing, though. We hear that beeping noise so much.
We
don't even hear it.
Yeah. Situational awareness, right, Jam?
It's another one of those things we became
desensitized.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Especially if anybody, Kendrick and Erica and those guys, Scooby, working on backfilling our foundation over there. It's easy to get out and you're walking amongst the equipment all day long, dragging the water hose or whatever the case may be. Boy, it's easy. you're down there in a yellow piece of iron and you're just moving back and forth freely, and you're not expecting a body down there. So if somebody's out, be careful. Be careful around all that stuff.
I'm sure you guys seen that video of I think it was a mixer driver gets out of his truck and the front end loader backs up, hits him, knocks him down, and drives right over the middle of him.
Yes.
Unscathed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy pops back up. Everything's all gravy, but holy moly.
Right. He had the loader bucket up or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I remember that, Jam. Yeah.
We just had the one though, guys. We probably should mention it is paving the other day for Brandon. Another one of Brandon's trucks, leased trucks. I know it's not a company truck. Didn't have its brakes set and rolled across the job site in front of our truck, and we all have it on camera. And the scary thing about it all, and I don't know what's the driver's name, Jam. Do you?
Carlos Beltran.
Carlos. When he came in, in the video, if you run it longer. But anyway, the driver is like trying to chase down his truck, and he's so scared. And, Carlos is like, I didn't even realize what was going on until the driver was running across the
right
the deal. And so it, even to be out in that situation, be aware of what's going on in other trucks. The guy just didn't set his brakes.
Yeah.
Yep. That one was posted up. That one's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's about to just drop off that wall into the parking lot.
Like it hit a rock or a concrete wall.
The wall was raised.
Yeah, like a 3-foot retaining wall or something, Jam. Yeah. Crazy situation.
Not good, you guys. Safety stuff.
Yeah, another minute or two, that truck would have rolled into us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, nothing you could do about it. I mean, there would have been nothing we could do about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, definitely. But walking around the yard, speed in our yard, speed going in and out of the driveway, that's the reason we ask you guys to slow down, in the dark. What if there's somebody out, running or, a homeless person or somebody parked out on the street walking into our site, going slow, that gives you that more of that time to be able to look at the sidewalks, look down the street. And, we talked about it last week. Don't assume also that all the cars coming down the street are turning in here. They could be Marshall, or anybody that works next door going down through there. Then not everybody comes here. So don't be aware of that. And then, we talk about it all the time too, is as you're going through the yard, default that transmission to low gear. Don't let it start out in first. We see so many people not nicely stop at the driveway and then take off, and that truck's in third gear, and man, it's a bounce and a big gas pedal movement out into the street. Be in control. It just do it. What were you going to say, Dave? Did I say something? Default at the first?
Yeah, you said be sure that truck's not in first gear, and I think you meant third gear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So be in first gear.
Yeah, default it to first gear. Yep. Yeah, that's not in third.
Now, Soup, I know you've been out for a couple of days, but we don't want any excuses. You ready to hit us with that high road haul?
I happen to be ready.
Perfect.
Imagine that. I get my papers to separate here. So this week's high road hauling is about the rapidly changing world. So we live in a tense and rapidly changing world. Every day, thousands of little things can drive us crazy. In order to withstand the stresses of everyday life, we need to stick to an effective guideline. So here are some tips on how to stay optimistic even in the toughest situations. When you feel bad, look around you. There are thousands of people who are in a worse situation. Change the style of your expressions. Any phrase must contain a positive attitude. Don't say, I'm freaking tired. It's better to say, after a busy and productive day, I'm starting to relax. Do not complain endlessly about people around you. Better try to find and emphasize in each person the best features of their character. There are times when we cannot avoid going through some negative situations. Someone may hurt us with a rude word, intentionally or even unintentionally. We may face some difficulties at work or in personal life. Anything can happen when we are not ready to face it. Obviously, in any of these situations, it's difficult to remain positive. To become a positive person and withstand problems, work on maintaining a positive worldview. Benevolence, which I actually had to look up, that means kindness, and belief in the best. Concentrate on cheerful moments of life and draw conclusions to learn from almost any situation. Take a deep breath as the first step towards calmness. Speak softly to make the situation less acute. Realize that within each difficult situation there are opportunities. And as Albert Einstein said, in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. So look at what other people are saying to you and as something useful that will help you to improve yourself. Ignore the information that only carries a negative tone. And keep a positive view of any person. You may not like what they say or do, but that doesn't mean you should despise them. And realize that you are the first victim of your negative feelings. If you made a mistake, admit it openly, and remember that the one who makes a mistake deserves more respect than the one who does nothing. Read books, listen to music, do everything that brings a positive attitude in your life, and talk to a friend who can support you. Use your favorite quotes that may lead you to think in a positive way, and remember you cannot please everyone, so let some people just walk on by. Give your attention and strength to those with whom you can interact positively. Talk about good things. It is worth focusing on good news, pleasant events, successful and joyful events in the world and all around you. So those were some tips on trying to stay positive in the face of adversity. And the quote this week is from Benjamin Franklin. So 250 years ago, that these people still had a grip on things that happen today. And he said, without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning whatsoever.
250 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, history can always teach us new lessons.
Right.
You just have to stop and
Right.
like connect it with what's going on today.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of people out there today that are just negative this, negative that. Oh, you know, the economy, the wars around the world. And just this morning, I read that India shot some missiles at Pakistan, and now Pakistan's pissed off that, you know, it was an act of war. And it's just like, really? Again?
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, you have the power to stay positive if you just use it.
Yeah, David, we talked about it, or I talked about the small world, like with Marshall and Marshall's father-in-law, and we've all ran into different people that, went to random high school where we graduated and all this other stuff. And for you to do that high road hauling there, Dave, because my quote, one of my quotes that I wanted to end with this week is, if you focus on the past, fear controls you. If you focus on the future, anxiety consumes you. If you focus on others, they dictate your life. But if you focus on the lessons in life, you will continue to grow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And
I like
that is so much like the high road hauling, where a lesson is you just have to let some people walk by, right? You can't,
Mm-hmm.
you can't hold that grudge on yesterday, or the fear may control you. It just seemed like, and I liked it because we're trying to give you a lesson here of what to do when you're trucking and maybe what to do in some life tips and different things like that. And you have to focus on the lessons, and what you've learned
Mm-hmm.
to move forward. It's imperative you do that. I have my soon to be new son-in-law. He proposed to my middle daughter, Allie, several weeks ago, and they were close to buying a house, and they were learning some tough lessons because they're on the edge of being able to afford it, and it's really going to strap them. And talking to them and looking at this, and that excitement of having that new house overwhelms you. You want it. You want to be independent. They want to be out on their own and all that. And we sit down and we talk about they want to have kids pretty soon, and what does that mean? And you have this bill, and his name's, it's going to be confusing for me for the rest of my life, but both of my son-in-laws will be named Tyler, which is I guess, was going to be
Tyler A and Tyler B.
Exactly. And, Tyler's talking about quitting his job or, looking for a new job. And he said, I hope to be making some more money than what I am now. And I'm like, yeah, but you may have to step back.
The new Tyler or the old Tyler?
The new Tyler.
Oh, gotcha.
The new
Talk
Tyler.
about confusing.
My future newest son-in-law.
We call him Baby Tyler.
Baby T.
Yeah, Baby T. That we may have to step back a few steps to get a new job that'll lead you to a better future. All those things. And I know me and Holly just talked to him last night and they decided not to get the house. They just think it's not the right time. And I just thought, man, what a mature decision to do instead of just strapping yourselves and walking into that. And I think they could have done it. That's the other thing.
Right.
So that's a tough lesson, but to be more prepared, I feel good for them. I think it's great. And then I kind of wanted to, the last few weeks here and the 2 weeks ago, I talked about Nike, and them saying that, they're the ones on the sidewalks and in the streets cheering the runners on. That's what Nike's about. And I've talked about us, here in the, mechanics, the wash bay, all of us and everything cheering the drivers on. And we're always here for you. And I just wanted to remind everybody that our efforts, like the podcast and, the 401k and bugging you about a pre-trip and a post-trip and are your lights working and all that stuff. And is your cab clean and, 3 points of stance. And, I can go on, but all our efforts in you is our reflection of our interest, our belief, and our love for you. We are truly on the sidewalks cheering you on. And I just want everybody to remember that we believe in you. So
I like it.
Well put. I should get 2 of those sayings you had for the past and the future tattooed on both of my arms, Jim, because I'm pissed off and angry because of what's happened politically in our past. And I'm scared to death fighting it in the future, and I've talked about it, how much it's affected me personally, because I've just been consumed by it. And I've talked about it so much that I have to let it go. Those are just great.
But I think
you have to be active, but you can't stay attached to it. And I've talked to that friend of mine, Ray Scott, about it so many times. And it just is what it is. He is not affected by it. But he's also at a point in his life, it's not like our business. I feel we're affected by it 100 times more than he is, Jim. So I think it's easy to let it go when we look at all of these things that are impacting our business, and it's going to impact our families and our way of lives. And can we afford it? Will we make it through this? You know what I mean? And it just didn't used to be that way. It wasn't that despair and desperation. So for me, it's hard to let go and not worry about and not try and educate everyone else, because the average person has no idea. The average person has no idea that they're going to set out. And I haven't heard a number how many bills they've passed this year. Are we at the 500 mark? Are we at the 700? Did we break 700 again?
I thought it was
Jim?
like 650.
Okay.
The last time I heard, yeah.
I mean, there's still 100 left on the books they're going to try and ram through today. And these are the ones that get dangerous because they get desperate,
right?
And everybody just gives up and goes, yep,
right.
Sign it through.
Time to go home.
Yeah, we're done today. Today's the last day. So I don't have any words of inspiration, just to piggyback and suck in on that, Jim. Those are great words of inspiration that we could, I'm sure in some point, I'm using it for me personally as a political thing. I'm sure everyone has their devil's advocate that they can apply that to. So yeah, that's all I got.
2 things. Number 1, I will pay for those tattoos.
I didn't say I'm gonna. I said I'm sure.
How do you spell future?
No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets.
And number 2, you said something. I know Ray Scott's a good guy, right? But you said it doesn't affect him like it affects us. And it just made me think wow, the politics don't affect the politicians. It affects all of us because their job, their livelihood, what they're doing is the politics. I feel like it has more effect on us than anybody.
I mean, I see what you're saying,
like
Jam, but
the things that Trump or Obama or Biden or Reagan, like the things that they made happen in the country don't really affect them. It affects the people. I'm not stealing their promise.
No, I
understand what you're saying. They're still the people, though, right, Jam?
They are,
but they were supposed to be the best representatives for the people.
Yes.
That's when they're not.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like none of what's going on affects Kamala Harris or Trump or Biden.
Right.
None of it affects the people.
I do
DC.
believe at that level, you're absolutely right, Jam.
It just doesn't affect them.
I mean, and why do you have to have, because almost all politicians, I mean, I know some make it into the office and they get all this money, but how is Polis here, local government, does he have any idea what the rest of us are going through?
Right. The wolves don't affect him. The taxes don't affect him.
The gun right doesn't affect him.
Right.
Yeah.
No effect on the things
I mean,
that's fucked.
And that's at another level. I mean, totally another level. I mean, Ray said he's been at events, and he's had a one-on-one conversation with Phil Anschutz, extremely wealthy human being here in Colorado, probably one of the richest.
I think he is the richest, I think.
And
in Colorado, that
yes.
is, yeah.
And he's been at Republican events and he's been at Democratic events. He is a Republican, supposedly. And Ray said, well, who do you want to win? And he goes, oh, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And Ray's like, what do you mean? And he goes, it doesn't matter who's in charge. My money, my investments, my funds, it doesn't matter I'm still going to make money if this person's in charge as a Democrat or this person's in charge as a Republican. I am not affected by it. And then how are we? You know what I mean? How are we so affected by it because of our business? Right? Because we don't have the funds. We don't have the investments. We don't have the millions or billions.
We're not the elite.
I guess, right? I mean, is that
well, and he's also like 90 years old. So he's on the way out. He's going to die before
but he still has this empire that he says isn't affected by it, Dave.
Yeah, his money is in entertainment, right? The Anschutz Entertainment Group. He's also like one of the major shareholders in either the BN or the UP. I'm not sure. So he's in transportation, right? I mean, to me, that would be very much affected if nobody's shipping product and his railroads are going to lose money.
Yeah.
Or nobody's going to go to concerts, right?
I think he's more just talking his plain out investments. So it's not rules and regulations that are created that ban their business. He's not fighting, climate change, and his fleet of railroad engines they're going to have to be electric in 5 years. You know what I mean? He's not having to fight that, right? Where we see all these punishing rules and regulations every year.
The trucking industry.
Yes, that become a daunting task that we're dealing with. And it's like closing the door. And I mean, thank God a lot of that has just rolled back. I mean, they haven't finalized everything, but they hope to have everything finalized by the 3-day weekend. Yeah. But I mean, they've rolled back so much EPA stuff, and it sounds like CARB is gone in California.
Wow.
Now, what's weird is it's still here. They haven't put Colorado on the list yet. And I'm like, how can CARB be gone, but we're still CARB Colorado?
Yeah. Isn't CARB California?
Yes.
Is the first letter?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we're just in a little waiting cube, but they're making progress on it now. They've signed several CRAs, which are congressional. Oh, what is the R for, Jim? Something Congressional Review Acts, CRAs, and that are rolling back all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be interesting, and it's good for the truckers outside of Colorado. So far has been a win, but these states like still California, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, when I say we're still band together, we're still tied with a lot of that stuff, and it's just not finalized. Things are going to get better. We just need to see what it's going to be, because no one has taken away the 2027 jump that's coming yet. No one has said that's gone. And that one's, when that hits, I mean, I'm certainly not going to say we're sunk, but they're talking like another $20,000 to $30,000 more per truck. It's going to be like another 1,200 pounds. It's going to be dual DPFs, dual SCRs. They're going to have a generator on there. I mean, we can't keep our trucks running now. And it's mind-boggling. So as I sit here and I talk about that, I feel this doom and gloom fall on me of,
it affects us.
Yes. Yes. So, but other people have to be dealing with it. What about these poor trucking companies? When Jim and I were back at the symposium, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast. I've talked to all you guys about it, but there's a fleet that brings nothing but flatbed loads out of Mexico every day of 1,000 trucks. And they're parked right now because of the tariffs. And if you only own one truck, it's the same as if you only own 1,000 trucks. When you have one truck parked and that's all you own, or you have 1,000 trucks parked and that's all you own, they're parked. And you're looking around like, what the heck are we going to do? When is it going to change? Right. And I just saw a deal on Fox last night when I turned the TV on. The first ship from China just showed up at the port in LA at the 165% tariff.
165%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is a little off subject, but kind of the same. There was an article that I read while I was off the last couple of days that we're going to have a shortage of Christmas gifts and toys because they're virtually all made in China, and people have to place their orders by the end of April to get the manufacturing done and then the shipment to sail across the ocean. And apparently they've gone down like 80%.
Wow.
So I told my daughters, I was like, you need to get toys for those kids. You should be shopping right now.
And Dave, I feel I'm going to sit right here. We just talked about it. That's the weather drama.
Oh, it could be, Dave.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
just
they're
putting, but they are using specific orders that they have that are not on the books. So, those are numbers right there.
I get it. Yeah.
Man, imagine a Christmas with no Christmas gifts.
They made a movie about that, didn't
people
they?
might actually know what Christmas is about.
Right?
Right, Jim?
Definitely not about the gifts
this year.
But I get it. I mean, as a kid, all the kids want presents for sure.
Yeah, the whole thing, though, is, I guess, where we've always been proud of America and what we've made. And, when we went to war, we made our planes, we made our tanks, we did all this, we banded together, we had all that, and we've sold our steel factories, we've closed down this, and, the same thing Super Dave.
I don't know if we could do that in this day and age, Jim.
Right? And you're telling me we don't make toys in America?
Apparently.
Apparently. And, talked about Allie and Tyler, there was just a show on Sunday morning that like 92% of weddings, everything comes from out of our country of what's supplied for a wedding.
Huh.
So weddings are talking, like you just said, Dave, like 210%, like you couldn't even get a wedding dress.
Mm.
And I'm sure there's a stockpile of them right now, but they're all made someplace else. And the increase on the dresses, and I
could imagine just textiles probably are, the silk or whatever.
Well,
right?
No, I guess they're just made there too. Like I'm going to say, like China makes the dress, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, silk comes from India, right?
But my point is, we don't do that in America. We can't make a dress here in America. We can't have flowers here for a wedding in America. Why are we not doing things here in America?
Well, I think that's the whole point of the tariffs.
Yes,
is for us to do these things, right? Theoretically, that's what should happen.
Well, that's what I guess I don't want people to hurt, but I guess that's the reason I'm okay with the tariffs, because what happened to America? We were a nation of inventors and doers.
I think also, how uncomfortable are you willing to get? Because a lot of the shit that we're talking about, it doesn't even matter.
No, it does.
You know what I
I mean, I know we're talking about presents for the kids, but I'll tell you what, my kids don't have to have presents.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do something special, whether they were young or not. You talk about Allie and Tyler getting married. I mean, maybe she has to be married in a regular dress. That the dress is not the point.
Right.
And
I think that's the fear mongering again, Jim.
Right, Dave? Yeah.
I mean, everything I keep talking about is the fake news and the media. And using those words, I'm not trying to echo Trump, right?
Right.
But I mean, 5 days ago, they were warning us about
The weather.
You know what I mean? Like, that's fear. They're spreading fear. You know, Dave, I just heard the same thing on the toys, but they were specifically talking about Mattel,
Yep.
who makes all the Barbie dolls. And they're like, there's going to be a Barbie doll shortage because Mattel can't afford to ship them over here. So they're looking at trying to build here.
Yeah, and if you were Mattel and you had a platform like you're talking, Dave, what would be a great way to sell all your inventory?
Fear. Going to be a shortage.
Look at all the guns that are being sold right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Panic buying every election,
Yeah.
every time a Democrat. I'm telling you, I feel like the Democrats, the lobbyists,
They're invested in gun companies.
I feel like, the lobbyists and the Democrats are actually in cahoots with the gun companies because they're like, we're gonna, make these laws and everyone's gonna go panic buy.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do this and everyone's gonna panic buy. And there's just been panic buying and panic buying. You know how many guns Obama sold?
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
a secret investor.
And Polis is trying to sell more than him now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
crazy.
That was kind of the first time I had heard that, Jam, when Obama first came in. And because again, our heads were kind of in the weeds and just grinding, right? When Obama first got into office years ago. And some family friends of ours, some of Janet's cousins were like, he says he's going to come take our guns. There's no way he's going to take our guns. We'll dig a hole and bury him in the yard.
Lost him in a boat accident.
And I thought then how crazy that sounded.
Uh-huh.
And today I'm like, that's their game, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's their plan. Like, they don't want us to have guns ultimately, so I don't know.
It's easy to get overwhelmed by all this.
It is.
And I'm not trying to sound righteous by any means, right? But when I start thinking about all these things and I get overwhelmed, I honestly, I try to give it to God. And I think, wow, you know what? 53 years, here I am. I made it. I've lived a good life. I'm going to make it no matter what, too. I'm not Anschutz. Like, I don't have that money.
Like,
right?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I don't own JFW where I got to worry about purchasing trucks, right? Like, so I understand the effect it has on the business. That would be, but no matter what, God's taking care of me this long and I'm going to make it. And it's going to be okay. Tariffs, no tariffs. Like, a lot of it, I care about it. I have a voice about it. Guns. Even if they said, you know what, guns are illegal. Let's say that happened and they came in and took our guns and there was I'd become a knife instructor. I'd become proficient at throwing, no matter what it is, it's going to be okay. And I think a lot of it just has to do with comfort, like we're talking about, like dresses and flowers and eggs. And I do eat a lot of eggs, but the other day, so I started doing red light therapy, right? Red light therapy is supposed to have all these great benefits for you, right? High society. I'm not high society, but if you think about it, there's people, they don't even have clothes. And I'm going to get red light therapy at a tanning
World
salon.
issue.
It's high society.
First world. Sorry.
I was going to say for first world.
So
That's what I meant.
So the thing is about this red light, they say you need it 2 to 3 days a week for 8 weeks to really reap the benefits, right? So I'm trying to be committed, right? So Sunday, I'm like already strapped for time. I'm like, I could go, right? So I go and I sit down and there's a lady signing up and things are going really slow. And another lady walks in and like goes right to the counter, like standing right in her butt in my face. And I'm just smiling like she doesn't know I'm waiting, but this girl's going to tell her. So a few minutes go by, she sits down and she looks at me. She's like, how long have you been waiting? I'm like, I haven't really been keeping track of the time, maybe 5 minutes. So anyway, the girl calls me up and she says, all right, go down to this room. And as I'm going, I see the lady get up and she's like yelling at the front desk girl, who's 18.
Right.
You know what I mean?
16.
I don't know how old she is. And I'm just like, just made a little mental note. And when I was done, I was like, was that lady pissed about something? She's like, yeah, she was mad that I didn't tell her you were waiting. I'm like, huh. So she was like pissed off and embarrassed that instead of like coming in and be like, are you waiting?
Right.
It's the girl's fault.
Situational awareness, right, Jen?
Oh,
I walked
God.
into an office, 2 people were there already.
Right.
Someone's probably in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, not bragging, but I told the girl, I was like, hey, you know what? Thanks for being here on a Sunday. I threw her a little tip. And she was just like, you could see she went from, you know, hurt to lifted.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then yesterday, you guys got us out of here a little early. I'm like, I could go get some red light. And I walk in and I'm waiting and, you know.
Sounds like a tanning salon.
It's at a tanning salon.
It's at a tanning salon. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the girl's like, listen, there's somebody in there now, and there's one person that would be before you if you want to wait. Do you want to do something else? I'm like, nah, that's okay. I don't really have the time to wait. I didn't really have the time to come today, but I got off of work early. So it's no big deal. And she was just like, you have no idea how big of a deal it is.
Wow.
I'm like, really? She's like, there's been fights in here.
Wow.
I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, to me, it's red light therapy. Like, why get all bent out of shape?
Funny.
Like, we're going to.
I got some orange light therapy Monday. I burnt the shit out of myself in the sun out there in the wind Monday.
Thought you looked a little red. I got red skin therapy.
You should have seen my hair before I came in the office, Jam. I had to go to the bathroom and like wet my hair down.
Wind was blowing,
like
dirt was
homeless
blowing, water was blowing. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Face bright red, sunburnt. My hair was just like, boof.
Don King.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah. I was going to mention to you, Jam, when you're talking about that, and you know, the wedding dress is a great example of you know, you just look at the big picture and you don't care, and you know, even if they took your guns, you'd be a knife instructor. I think that's kind of what Dave was getting at with Ray, is that's where he doesn't care. He can't. He doesn't let it hurt him but he's going to keep fighting a good fight about trying to change it. But otherwise, if they do that, he will become a knife instructor.
The emotions aren't there.
Yes. The panic. I just wanted to kind of, because that was a great insight on that, Jam. And I've seen Ray, because Dave's having a heated conversation with Ray, and Ray's like, it'll be all right. We're going to get through this, you know, and no, we didn't get through it. It didn't pass. Aren't you pissed off?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it too, and I don't know Ray the way you know Ray, but he's probably fought for so many things that he's lost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I didn't win that one.
He loses exceptionally well.
I'm gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
I lost again. I'm gonna fight. Yeah.
It's experience there.
Yeah.
You know, he's been in the trenches.
Kudos to him. I mean, he ran for CU Region, you know, after being a senator for 3 terms.
Right.
Yeah, still involved.
So I mean, he's not quitting on us.
Right.
You know, did you ask him about them retiring Shadur's number and what BS that is?
Unfortunately, they had to approve Deion Sanders' contract
so
on an emergency notification, but he had nothing to do with that. That wasn't part of that. But it was interesting because he called me immediately like, I'm giving you breaking news. We secured Deion's contract. They haven't sent it out yet. I'm just letting you know. And I was like, what did it cost? And what was it? A $10 million for 2-year contract or something?
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah. Ray's like, can you believe that? And he goes, I need a raise for my pock.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I guess my final thought is, you know, at the end of the day, you have yourself and your family and the people around you. It's going to be okay.
It is going to be okay, Jam. We're all going to be alive tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, right? that's the lesson.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, kind of along those lines. And you know, we talk. I just use the words "we're all going to be alive tomorrow." I've heard no matter what your problems are, there's only 2 things you need to worry about. 2 things you need to be worried about today. Am I healthy or am I sick? If you're healthy, you got nothing to worry about. If you're sick, you got 2 more things to question. When am I going to get better? Or how bad is it? And that was kind of a pretty great perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, wow, today I'm healthy. It's going to be okay.
And then what about when you ask how bad is it?
He didn't go into that.
we didn't learn that one yet.
Well, then what's it going to take to get well?
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, on a side note, I have an IPOC meeting today. And matter of fact, I probably need to get going here.
The Caldera? No.
It is, yeah. That's what I wanted to bring up. John Caldera is our special guest speaker today. And if anybody hasn't heard of him, Google him. He has his own show called The Devil's Advocate.
He's Googleable.
He is Googleable big time. And he's a Denver native. And it's so ironic. Lives in Boulder, works in Denver.
Wow.
And absolutely realizes how bad our political scene is. And you guys, he has the independent what's it called? The Independent
Wow, I don't.
Independent Research Institute. Yes. And you guys, he does these shows and he has these guests on, and it's not, the focus isn't slamming politics. The focus is informing. Like, he has one episode that he works with Xcel Energy.
Yeah, amazing show.
And oh my God, the information that Polis has taken charge of and what he's done to us and our energy costs.
Just what Colorado's done to our energy.
Yes, it's mind numbing. So anyway, if you get a chance, if you're bored, just go to YouTube, search John Caldara. I think it's pronounced Caldera, but I'm pretty sure it's spelled with all A's. Maybe it's an E, but I'm sure if you type it in, he'll come up.
Yeah.
Or The Devil's Advocate, and his episodes come up, or any of those on YouTube, and he comes up, and I actually follow his shows, and they're just great. I mean, they're just great. They are providing all of the information of the things we need, and like I said, the average person has no clue why things are so expensive here in Colorado, and it's our government leadership has created it.
And I thought I saw someone like he hates political bullies.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Bully this.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. You guys want to say the creed and get on out?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Together
We face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, 'cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, 'cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. bright, shiny red trucks just a trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.